Welcome to the ST2K show interview with Ravenous Spectre. This is Ronmower along with Ravenous Spectre and Danny.
Greetings and salutations to you all. Once again, it is me, the Ravenous Spectre.
The Ravenous Spectre.
The Ravenous Spectre, the Ravenous Spectre, which is what happens when you eat too much, when you take a peck, I can't talk today, when you eat too much Taco Bell. There.
Yeah.
We'll have to do some edits there. I couldn't get it out of my freaking face.
We don't edit on ST2K. Shh. No.
We'll do it live, damn it.
We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Do it live, damn it.
Okay. There's no words on it.
No words?
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I wanted to interview Ravenous Spectre. Seemed like an interesting character to interview from YouTube. And Danny is here with us, so we're putting Ravenous Spectre in the hot seat. Make him sweat a little bit. Interrogate him, ask him some questions.
And roast them like the Comedy Central roast.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just
yeah.
kidding.
What the heck? What the heck ever. Works for me. Anything to get an interesting little interview podcast here. I'm in the sauna area of the ST2K headquarters over here in Texas.
Right, yeah. And, we always seem to call these shows podcasts, but they're not really podcasts because they're not like on iTunes or live. We used to upload them on iTunes for people to download. But I wasn't even sure what a podcast is really. I thought it was just like an audio show where people talk on it or something. We just would just mainly upload discussion panels over the years on the channel and not air it live on pay-per-view or whatever they call it on MLW radio. No, yeah, we're on the same network as Jimmy Cornette's Experience and Tony Schiavone's and Conrad's podcast. Yeah, right.
There you go.
Sure.
But so, yeah, I want to get started here. The first question I have for you, Spectre, is, and this can be a hard question to answer because I don't even know the answer to this one really is hard. Like, what got you hooked into gaming? Like, maybe what is the moment that made you say, or made you just get hooked onto gaming from there?
Well, honestly, I guess it boils down to back when I was probably, I believe, old enough to hold a controller. I'm sure everybody says that, but I think I was probably around 5 or 6 years old, and I always seen video games on TV. I wasn't really aware of what they were, but I know I wanted to try them out. And then I found out that there was this system called the Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, my mother and my grandmother ended up getting it for me one year. I can't remember what year it was really, but when I finally got my hands on it and I was trying it out, the first game that I ever had, I mean, obviously it ended up coming with Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers, but really the first game that I really did try, I believe it was called Ninja Brothers, and it was on the NES. And what was crazy was when I was at that age, I really wanted to play this game. I just wanted to experience it for all that it was worth. But at the same time, I was scared to be left alone with this system because I was scared that the characters were going to come out of the screen and attack me or get me or something. So I'd always want like my grandmother or my dad or my mother or something to be in the room with me while I was playing because I really wanted to play it. But I'm just like, man, if I'm left alone, where did they come and get me? I was a kid at the time, so it almost seemed like a monster's under my bed kind of feeling. And it was crazy, but after that moment, I mean, I just shot off straight into the stratosphere when it comes to dealing with gaming after that. I got into Super Nintendo, Genesis, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, a lot of different systems, not every system across the planet or nothing like that because that would be expensive as piss, but there was a lot of systems from the time that I actually got into gaming, and I just gradually went along with the evolution from Nintendo all the way up until now. And I tell you, it's been quite a ride, especially knowing how far technology has jumped from the 80s all the way up until now. It's been crazy.
Yeah, Ninja Brothers.
Indeed.
I gotta look that up.
I think that's what it was called, I believe. I think it was called Ninja Brothers.
I remember a game called Kung Fu Heroes.
That might have been it. I'm not really sure. It had a, I know what the packaging looked like. It was two like ninja dudes. One was in a blue outfit, one was in a red outfit, and they were doing some actions. Like I think one was doing like a flying dragon kick or something, and the other one was on the ground. They were fighting little creatures around them or something like that. But I can't really place my finger on exactly what the title was.
Yeah, I gotta try to look that up.
Fascinating.
Yeah. What is your overall favorite game?
Oh, good lord! That's almost like trying to ask me what my favorite food is.
Yeah.
I honestly have many of them. But dang, uh, I'll just go ahead and throw one out there right off the top of my head. That just suddenly appears in my mind. And I know it's probably going to sound really cliche to people, but I don't care. It's one of the biggest RPGs of all time, and that's Final Fantasy VII. I love all the Final Fantasy series. Well, not every title, but I played most of them. I've beaten a few of them, but I think that in terms of like my wide range of games that are like my top favorite ones, that's definitely one that stands at the top of the pinnacle, because that game in particular actually really brought me to the forefront of knowing what RPGs, role-playing games, was all about. When I was playing Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI back on the Super Nintendo, I really didn't know what they were. I just know that they were these graphically impressive for that time. These graphically impressive looking games that were really colorful and fun to play. And I just thought they were like action games. I really didn't put too much thought to exactly what they were all about. But as time wore on and I finally played Final Fantasy VII, I realized exactly what type of genre they were and the different dynamics and different engines and strategies and mechanics that goes into the game. And after that, it just became my favorite genre after Final Fantasy VII, because of the characters, because of the story, because of the different battle mechanics, because of the world and the exploration and everything. That was honestly the first game that I can recall that really just made me feel like I was going on a real grand adventure. Like I was going out into this world that I had never seen before, and I was trying to explore as much of it as I possibly could. And the music also was something that really grabbed me. It grabbed me so much to the fact that I ended up actually getting the original soundtrack from Japan, like, I don't know, back in 2000 or something like that. It actually shipped from Japan to Florida, and I guess it was like a distribution center or something in Florida. And I ordered it from there, and I listened to it like nonstop for like a long period of time, because I loved the music that was in it at that point in time. Of course, nowadays we have renditions that are like with full orchestras and all of that, dealing with the Final Fantasy series, which is really cool because there's some real great music in that series. But that was probably one that really expanded my mind even more along the lines of, this is what gaming can be. This is these grand adventures that gaming can actually be. It's kind of like we went from running along a 2D plane, if you will, hopping and bopping on enemies and throwing out different special powers, to the point to where we go into the 3D world and we just have this massive world for us to be able to explore, and it just opened up like a whole new dynamic in terms of games for me.
I knew someone that actually dropped out of high school just to play Final Fantasy VII all the time.
Yeah, there was no chance in hell I was ever doing that.
Yeah, like
That's
person.
what we call being an otaku, and a very unhealthy one.
Yeah. If that ever happened, my dad, God rest his soul, he would have kicked my ass.
Yeah. I knew someone. I'm not big on Final Fantasy, but I've always heard great things. Final Fantasy VII, in particular, is the one that I've mainly heard great things about. And I did know this guy that just dropped out of high school. He skipped school a lot and would never come back, or just missed too many days because he wanted to play Final Fantasy VII all the time. And the only Final Fantasy game I actually ever really played was the very first one for the NES, because I would always see it in like the top 3 or top 5, and then it's in the Power Rankings every month. And I'm like, well, this game must be cool if it's in the top 5. And I played it, and I was so lost because I didn't know what to do, because I was not used to RPGs. I didn't even know what an RPG was at the time. It was just to me, I was thinking, man, this is a different type of game. I mean, I keep trying to walk around, and I'm on the screen where I got to hit, speak, talk, hit, magic, and healing, while looking at these other people across the screen that have points above their heads, or what is going on here? So I was completely lost, and it did not get me hooked. And so I took it back to the rental store, and then I played a little bit of the Final Fantasy X demo on the demo disc when it came out on PS1, and or PS2 or whatever it was that it came out on. I think it was Swindle that had the demo disc, and I played it for a little bit. And I just could not get into Final Fantasy, but I'm not really an RPG guy, even though I do like Chrono Trigger. But Final Fantasy VII was a game that I've heard a lot of great things about. I guess a lot of people may say that it's the best in the series?
A lot of people do mention that, but everybody has their own opinions. I think really the main top Final Fantasies, at least from my experience, from what I've heard from people, is it's either 7 or 9 or 10, and 6 especially, and some people actually put 8 up there as well. So it's within that range of games that I've heard that those are actually people's favorite titles. But I think maybe it would kind of be a battle between 6 and 7, because everybody loved the pixel art and everything that was in 6, and just how the I think what was it on the Super Nintendo, the Mode 7 chip or something like that, that kind of made it seem like you were in a 3D space, kind of like what they did with Star Fox, I believe, something like that.
Yeah,
I forgot exactly what it was called, but
the FX chip.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah, it was. I think it was called like Mode 7 or something, where it gave this really unique graphical look to it. You have to actually go and look on YouTube to see what I'm talking about, but I think it's called the Other World or something like that in Final Fantasy VI, where they utilize that graphical effect. Anyways, it was really cool for the time. But it's funny you should mention the first game for Final Fantasy, because I had actually heard from Pro Jared, as a matter of fact. He was talking about how there was like certain glitches and things that was in the game where it made it so incredibly hard to try to be able to get through, and it got really frustrating. But when they ended up re-releasing it again years down the road, and they've re-released it a few times, they actually mixed up the dynamics of the battle and made it much more easier to get into. They still made it challenging from time to time, but obviously the technology at that point in time later down the road was a lot more advanced than what it was back then. So I would say if anybody is going to end up playing the first Final Fantasy, they don't need to do it on the NES, just for that simple fact. If they end up playing it on one of the later systems, it was released on the PS1 with Final Fantasy Origins, which was Final Fantasy 1 and 2. And I believe it also came out on the Game Boy Advance, and I believe it's on cell phones as well. So you can almost pretty much probably find it anywhere nowadays.
Game Boy Advance is how I played Final Fantasy 1 and 2.
Yeah. I knew it was on one of the hand for sure. It actually, matter of fact, it's also on the PSP, I believe, as well. So if anybody is interested in that, yeah, just Google it and see what systems that is on to see which one fits best for you. But I would kind of say deter from the NES version to just try to get the best experience that you can on the later ones.
Indeed.
All right.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna say because my question was, "What is your favorite game?" I was gonna also ask you, "What are your honorable mentions?" And for me, to me, that's the easy question. What is your favorite game? Because I always say Mega Man 2, because it really is, without a doubt, my overall favorite game, and that's going to never change. So I don't know if you mentioned it already, but what are some of your honorable mentions that you really put up there on the top of the list, or it just made the list?
It just made the list. Well, it's kind of funny because they all be RPGs as well. Good grief. Let's see. Speaking of the PS1 era, we got Legend of Dragoon and Xenogears. Those are definitely two top ones there. If we're going a little bit later down the line in terms of consoles, we spoke of Final Fantasy, so we can have Final Fantasy X there. And I really do love the Dragon Age and the Mass Effect series as well, even though the previous one, Andromeda, got some controversy on it. I honestly liked it for what it was. There's a few things I found out about it I wish I knew before purchasing it, but that's neither here nor there now. But I really do like the Dragon Age series, because that's an action RPG series, and also Mass Effect Andromeda is the same way. So yeah, right off the top of my head, those are some honorable mentions for sure, because Lord knows I don't know how many games I played my entire life, but there's no way I can keep a list that long in my head.
Yeah. You can't keep Jericho's list that long in your head.
Exactly. The man of 1,001.
Yeah.
Yeah, holds.
Yeah, 1,001 holds, yeah. So besides the PS1, what's your favorite console?
Let's see. Well, might as well go ahead and say the PS2. because that was the next system. And actually, from what I've heard, it's like the highest selling system of all time, I believe, or one of the highest selling systems of all time. It has a massive library of games. I think last I heard it had over 1,600 games, 1,500. It could be more than that. It could be 2,600 or 2,500. I don't really know, but I'm sure it's piss. I'm not going to be going for an entire collection. That is not going to be happening under any circumstances, because some of them I just don't care about. But the thing about that is, knowing how Sony is, especially considering also how they are nowadays, they also came out with a whole lot of exclusives for the PS1 and the PS2 and so on and so forth. And that was one of the things that really pulled me towards the PS2, was the amount of exclusives that it had coming out for it. And of course the multi-platform stuff as well. There was just so much great stuff that was coming out for that system that I was pretty much like latched onto it. I was latched onto it so much to the point that there was one time where I had a PS2 and I believe it was the DVD player went out on it. So I wanted to get another one. I mean, the games would play on it just fine, PS1 games and PS2 games. So I ended up getting a second system. I ended up taking the second system, played it, and all of a sudden for a long period of time afterwards, the PS1, I guess emulation chip or something inside of it ended up giving out. So I couldn't play PS1 games on it, but I could play DVDs and PS2 games. I was like, oh my God. So finally I ended up getting a PS2 Slim, had no problems with it whatsoever. But then I ended up making the mistake of going and taking my PS2 Slim and selling it along with a handful of games to a guy who I never wish I sold them to, because long story short, this guy has his own business, makes a whole lot of money, and basically lowballed me. And I was stupid enough to give into it because I was trying to get money for me to be able to get either a PS3 or an Xbox 360 at the time. So like a dumbass, I went and sold it to him, took the money, and eventually I ended up getting my 360 or PS3, whichever one came first. I believe it was the 360 because of the fact that it was a heck of a lot cheaper than the PS3 was at the time. And I regretted it so much that I ended up talking to a guy at work, and later on down the line, and he ended up selling me his fat PS2. Lasted a good while, and all of a sudden that one ended up dying. And I was like, God, man. So I have had a storied history with PS2. I mean, it's one of the greatest systems ever, but I have definitely had a storied history with it. Finally, I ended up getting another Slim, and later down the road, and also have another Slim as well that my girlfriend actually ended up, she got it in a bundle deal from a friend of hers who sells games. So we basically have two PS2s now, two PS2 Slims, a silver one and also a regular black one. So I hope we don't have to worry about having to get any other ones later on down the road, because it was definitely an amazing system for its time, and to me it still is. So that's probably my second favorite system, I guess you could say. It's funny since it has two in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say I have great memories of the PS2 as well. Now, my overall favorite system is the NES, but I love PS2. So many great memories with that, like Capcom versus SNK 2, the Street Fighter Anniversary Collections, Mega Man Anniversary Collection, Metal Gear Solid 2, the WWE SmackDown games, and then SmackDown versus Raw. So many great memories with the PS2. I've had that for years and years, and Swindoll had it. He got me. I think he eventually got me hooked onto Metal Gear Solid for PS1, which made me want to get Metal Gear Solid 2. And so yeah, and PS2 lasted what, 14 years?
I think so. It lasted a long freaking time. I cannot remember how long it went for, but it was one of those systems that went on for a long freaking time. I was surprised that it went on for as long, because usually it kind of seems like console life cycles are anywhere, at least way back when, were anywhere between maybe 4 to 5 years, probably stretching to 7 years. But then again, you ended up having, I believe, like the PS3 and the 360 going for like, what, 10 years or something, 8 to 10 years or something like that. So the longevity has been getting longer as time has wore on. But yeah, I believe the PS2 went on for quite a long while.
From 2001 to 2011, if I got that right. Alpha Omega Sin had also stated that too.
Okay. Yeah, PS2
and
is
for
freaking
me,
awesome.
Yeah, as for me, I'm still creating more memories with the PS2 since I got my Mega Man X8 back.
Yeah, I have a list. I have a collection of games I got like super cheap at this local store where I used to live previously that had like a buttload of freaking games for sale. It's basically a nerdy paradise because they got like comics there, they got games, they got anime there, they got comics and figures and DVDs and Blu-rays and everything you can think of is there. But yeah, I've got a backlog that is like a mile long when it comes to dealing with that system, especially other ones.
Yeah.
It is an ECW. It is an ECW system.
It is. PS2, PS2.
PS2. ECW.
Yeah.
I want to play a PlayStation Championship. Wait, PSCW. Yeah.
PS2.
Hey guys, let's play the PS2. I'm like, what? The PS2. That's
Exactly.
PS2, you idiot. All right. As far as YouTube is concerned, what got you into doing YouTube videos?
Well, there is a few. That's a little bit of a story there. Not too long, but basically, when I was watching a whole lot of YouTube videos, when YouTube first started to get really good in terms of like the quality and the content, and people pumping out videos like crazy. There was me and my friend, a good friend of mine who I've known for like I think probably 9 or 10 years, something like that. He and I have been off and on as friends because drama between us from time to time. But we managed to look over that and get over it and just be adults about it and work things out between us, and finally just decided to stay as friends. But he and I were wanting to make some videos. And I was like, okay, I said the only way I really know to do. And this was at the time before the PS4 came out. You can do streaming and all that with the system. And we weren't really adept in terms of dealing with PC hardware, like with webcams and recording and sound editing and all that. So we decided to take this camera that I had, this digital camera. We took the camera and we set it on a chair in the middle of his living room on top of a whole bunch of books and DVDs or whatever to try to get it just right where it could point towards the screen. We pressed record and we just started running our mouse and talking and playing and all that. And obviously the quality wasn't the best in the world, but we ended up getting some real gems out of that. And we ended up posting them up on his channel and my channel, which for a period of time, we had done that. And then he ended up getting rid of his channel as well as mine. I think that's when we kind of, went our separate ways for a bit. And finally, I ended up creating a channel again, as well as he did. He started doing his thing, and I started doing my thing. He still would do some gaming from time to time. But eventually it came to a point where we got back together being friends and started to make some videos together and whatnot. And I wish we could go back and actually get that footage that we had previously. I'm not sure if he still has it or not. He does. I want him to be able to find it so he can put it up on his channel and I can have it mine. I'll have to actually look through his channel to see if he still has it there. If he does, then I'll share it with you guys. But after that, I started doing a few little reviews here and there. I kind of just basically YouTube is just a recreational activity, which I still do that. I'm not making any money off of YouTube or nothing. But I didn't really put as many videos out as I used to. I didn't put as many videos out as I do now, I should say. I got my words mixed up there. But when the PS4 came out and when I realized, I really want to try to get in with a group of people who does these videos, who's really into gaming, who wants to have connections and discuss things with one another on a real nerdy, gamey, geeky kind of level, I went ahead and started utilizing the PS4 to do streams. And then I started doing some videos at home. And then I started doing some videos at work when I was on my break and nobody was around because I didn't want them to look at me like I lost my mind. And if any of you are wondering on my channel what I'm talking about, if you end up going to look at my Journey Onward series, then that's what I'm talking about right there, which I haven't put a video out in that section for the longest time because I quit where I was working at previously. And I can't really do it like I wanted to. I don't really want to do that from home because I feel like with me doing it from home, it's just like, I do every other video from home. but I wanted it to be like in a different area because with it being called Journey Onward, it's like if I go and do it somewhere else, it's like I'm taking a journey or going somewhere, which in actuality, the real name behind Journey Onward is just my week in gaming, the different things that I've been experiencing in gaming throughout the week. But I wanted it to be in a different location. So sadly, that little series hasn't popped up, in a long while, and hopefully it will come back again someday. But yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised personally for myself, and I'm very thankful for the people that I'm collaborating with and that I'm being friends with, and that we're on each other's channels about things that we really like. And I'm very thankful for those people and how they've helped me also gain some subscribers. And I only have like a little 100 subscribers. I think last I checked it was 113 or 114, something like that. But to me, that's a milestone for me, because honestly, I would have never expected I would probably even have over like 10 people subscribe to me or something. And here it is now, I have like over that amount, so to me, that's kind of like a milestone. So I'll just have to see what happens for me in the future. But I hope in the future that I can get a better webcam and also a better mic or lighting or whatever. And that's just something those are some things that are kind of in the works right now. And so that I can try to actually have the quality on my channel be better than what it has been, because I mean, it hasn't been the best, but at least it's getting the job done, as I say, for right now.
Yeah, and your beginnings sound like my beginnings, where I would put the webcam in front of the television and start talking and all that stuff. You see my earliest videos, you'll see the webcam in front of the TV with the low budget review series, and those are humble beginnings, but it was still fun. I mean, it's like, you got to start from somewhere. And Star Soldier, I think he had humble beginnings too. He had to start from somewhere, and even though he never uses screen capture, but he has like a good camera nowadays where he puts it right in front of the TV. You can still see what's going on, because he doesn't use emulation at all. He just uses consoles and the actual physical games. So, but yeah, I remember those beginnings where I had to rent a camcorder from rent to own, and set that up and all that stuff. But now that footage, though, a lot of that footage is gone now, or I have it somewhere in my archives in my apartment. But I took those down, I guess, because I was embarrassed by them. But looking back, I should have kept them up just to really show where how far I've come in terms of like quality or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to crawl before you can walk. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's going to take some time. I mean, even the biggest YouTubers nowadays take years to be able to reach the point at which they are now, because some people have been putting videos out on YouTube since YouTube began, and it took them a while for them to reach the amount of people that they have. I mean, some people, it could take over 10 years, if not longer, to be able to reach a certain amount. So, I just feel like I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to share my thoughts and opinions and hobby with people. And I just hope that it can progress from there, because I really do like the hobby, and I want to be able to share with people, because you always get different stories from different people when it comes to dealing with gaming. And I think that's probably one of the main things, is the best things, is not just experiencing the media for yourself, but experiencing it through other people and hearing what they have to say about it and their experiences with it. I know I'm kind of repeating myself talking about experience, but that's what it is. It is an experience, and especially listening to other people talk about it, it's a whole nother dynamic to it, I think.
Yeah. Sort of like how PewDiePie is like, a C minus.
He's making that money though.
Yeah, he is. And the thing about PewDiePie, like, I don't care about him either way. Some people say he's a douchebag. Some people love him, but I don't care either way. But I'm not going to hate on the guy because he's making millions. I mean, I can understand why people are frustrated, because they're like, oh man, all he does is make these videos and like he does weird voice acting, or the videos are stupid. He makes millions of dollars. You know what? If my videos, like, I don't want to change my style to where, I don't like my style. I do it mainly for fun rather than anything. I don't have to change my style. But if the style that I've been going with for 10 years were to actually make me a living, good, that would be great. And so I'm not going to hate on anybody that actually does make a lot of money on YouTube, because I wish that would happen to me. And I think it's awesome because I'm not gonna be jealous and hate on them for making money on YouTube. And some people I think hate PewDiePie so bad. I told the story before where I think Magus had posted a comment about it saying, "Wow, I don't like PewDiePie either, but this is very harsh." Someone had posted a comment, a sentimental comment in one of PewDiePie's videos saying, "Oh man, my mom was going through cancer and I had a hard time last year. And man, your videos is what kept me going. Your videos kept me from committing suicide, blah, blah, blah," whatever he said. And PewDiePie said, "Wow, thanks for letting me know that, man. I'm sorry for all the stuff you went through, and I'm glad my videos can help you escape reality and have fun." But then that person responded back saying, "I'm just joking. F you, you mother. I got you." I'm like, now that is wrong. Like, I mean, if you don't like somebody on YouTube, that's just low. And I mean, I don't care what anybody says. No, he deserves it because he's a douchebag. No, if you think he deserves it, you're a douchebag. I mean, come on. Now, that's going too far, whether you like someone on YouTube or not. I mean, so I'm not going to hate on anybody that makes money on YouTube because I wish I could, but I don't, and that's fine because I still have fun doing it. And, I'll just get a real job. No problem. It's just a fun hobby.
Yeah, and also, some of your older videos are on your website, aren't they, Ron?
All of my videos are on my website, yeah, or at least part one of each. Like not every single part of a series, but like every single like all the series that I've done is on there. Like let's say if you go to 2008 and it says let's play whatever series I started. I'll post part one on the website, and then from there, if people want to look up the rest of the parts, well, then they can do so. So yeah, I have an archive. I have all the series archived on my website.
Yep. And humble beginnings. It's like I was taking speedruns from Speed Demos archive, and I basically kept saying all the other stuff. Just give credit where it's due because I had no part in this.
Yeah. And now my videos I deleted obviously are not on my website, but ones that are still up are. And I mean, I still have the old taken down reviews on VHS somewhere in my closet, but that would be too much trouble to get uploaded onto YouTube. I'd have to get a screen capture card or whatever. I mean, it's just in there in the archives. It would be cool if I can like somehow get that together and then make a new playlist called The Lost Reviews or The Lost Videos or whatever, Ronmower, then re-upload them one day. Basically, as a matter of fact, you can kind of see clips of them in my low budget reviews that are still uploaded right now, like Mario Bros. 3. In the intro of Mario Bros. 3 low budget review, you'll see a few clips of me in front of a camcorder. That's part of the lost episodes that I did have up. And I would just basically kind of get in front of the webcam and then point the camcorder, and then point the camcorder toward my computer while I play emulated games. And then there was one time where I joked around. I said, "All right, guys, the next video game I'm going to review is The Fresh Prince for the NES. Now, this game did come out in 1992, and then I bust out laughing and said, "No, I'm just kidding." So.
I thought you were being serious. I thought there was an actual game with Will Smith in it.
And no, I did that first to make people think, what? And I go, this game came out in 1992. No, not really. Here's what I'm going to really review. And so, yeah. But the next question I want to ask you was, what triggered you into doing the Get Good video?
Well, that was one of those videos. It was on my lunch break, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I have heard and heard it to the point it just pissed me off, and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and make a video on it. Basically, it's about people that want to go and bash other people in terms of like what difficulty they like and what they don't like, and like, oh, well, if you don't like my difficulty, you're just a douchebag, you're just a wussy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, screw you, dude. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, games are all meant to be about entertainment and fun. Whatever difficulty you want to play them on, have at it. If you want to play it where you're having a nice leisurely stroll and you're having fun and you're relaxed, but you're still having a bit of a challenge or whatever, then so be it. If you want to play bang your balls inside the car, go ahead and do it. That's your own thing. If you want to be masochistic in your difficulty, then whatever, man. It's your preference. It's just digital entertainment. That's what it should be about. And I believe actually that video had to deal with cheating in single player games, didn't it? Isn't that what it?
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's
what it
right.
was?
Yeah, cheating in single
Okay.
player games.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to make sure that was a video that we were talking about, but yeah, I was also discussing that, and I was saying obviously multiplayer games, it's stupid, it's a douchebag move. You're dealing with multiple people here. You all just need to rely on your own skills and everything like that. But when it comes to single player games, you should be able to do whatever you want to. If you want to play through legitimately, fine. You're not bothering anybody. You're not hurting anybody. You spend your money to buy it, to play it. Nobody else did it. Nobody else can tell you how to play the game. And it was all on you for how you want to play it. If you want to cheat through the game, so be it. It's just like back in the day. I used Game Genie, I used Game Shark, I used Codebreaker, all of that because there were so many great games that was coming out. Some of them I would play without cheats. Other ones I would, even though sometimes some of those cheats would actually crash the game if you had too many on. But I always told myself, yeah, exactly. I always told myself, I'm having fun. I'm liking what I'm doing. I'm enjoying everything. Whose business is it, how I play my game? If I want to cheat, fine. If I fine, it's nobody's concern. And that's where that whole get good thing come from, because you always end up hearing that all the time from when the Dark Souls series really went around. It was like, get good this, get good that. I'm like, well, dude, everybody isn't at the same level. Everybody is different in terms of skill. Everybody plays different games. Why in the world does it seem like there's some gamers out there that wants everybody to be like a hive mind, to do everything?
Yeah.
To do everything that they do, to say everything they do, to play what they play because they're the ones that play it. That's a real sense of like being, I think, just like you have some type of messiah complex or something. It's just like what I do is what everybody else should do, and screw what anybody else likes. I mean, I'm not trying to call out any specific platform or anything here, but when it deals with fanboys of console and the PC master race, whatever, when it comes to that crap, when it comes to that elitism, when it comes to that being snobby and all that crap, man, I'm like, I just look at those people and I'm like, and I hate for this to sound cliche, but I'm like, you need to get a freaking life, and you need to think about stuff that's actually really important than freaking video games, for God's sakes. I mean, I'm a huge gamer. I have been my entire life, and I'll love video games from now until I'm 6 feet under in a grave, in my grave, like when I'm old as piss. But anyways, the fact is that's one reason that I made it, because I was just like, these people need to just be put in their place and realize it's just entertainment. It's something that you like to do. I mean, as a matter of fact, my girlfriend ended up calling a couple of people out one time because of the way that she plays and certain things that she likes to play. She likes to play her own things, and she likes to play some of the things that I play. But she called him out a couple of times, like, what's wrong with you freaking people? This is supposed to be about entertainment and just enjoying yourself. What business is it of yours? She had the same mindset that I did. What business is it of yours on what difficulty I play it on or how I like to play it? Like when she was streaming some games before, she's like, if you don't like it, then freaking leave. Nobody's telling you to stick around and watch the stream, and I mean, that it just really started to get to me when that whole trend was just going around like, oh, well, if you don't like these games, you just need to get good. And of course, a lot of people were wanting like an easy mode to come out with the game. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I understand where those people are coming from, but I also understand where the people who like the challenge are coming from, because people do like challenging games. They do like to be pushed to their limits at certain points. They want to know that they've overcome something that the developers put in front of their way as an obstacle, and they're really enjoying it, and they want to push onward because of that sense of satisfaction. I totally understand that. I totally get that, and I totally understand that. But there's some people who don't feel that way. I've tried those games before. They're not for me. End of story. I'm not going to and try to have like a conversation with somebody why it is that I don't like this game or I don't like that game, and I need to get good at this and get good at that. It's like, how is that detrimental in your life? It's not like games are a way of life. I mean, unless you're making money off of them, whatever, if you work in the industry or you're a big time streamer or something like that, and that's one thing. But I mean, what difference does it make? It's not like paying taxes. It's not like, paying a car payment or something like that. It's not something that's detrimental for your life. It's just entertainment. You do what you want to do with it. If you want to go and buy the game and play frisbee with your freaking dog out in your front yard, the freaking thing, then so be it. You know, you bought it. You can do what you want. I wouldn't recommend that. And I think you're kind of a little loosey-goosey in the head if you feel that way about it, going and throwing your $60 game out there for your dog to play with. But the fact is that's why I didn't want to go into a long rant about this, but I guess that's kind of one of the things that my channel is about sometimes, is ranting a little.
Yeah. Well, that's what got me to subscribe to your channel, was the cheating in single-player games video, and I decided to watch that. And the part that really made me laugh was, it's not just about get good, F you. It ain't got nothing to do with getting good. And I'm like, and that's why I posted my long comment. I posted my long comment to you saying, dude, you're right on about everything you said in this video. And the part where get good. And like, I totally agree with that. And that one video made me, that's when I first discovered you. You're doing something right when someone stumbles upon your channel and they subscribe to you from the first video they watch of you.
Yeah. It was basically, when I did that, I was mocking those people, because honestly, to me, I felt like those type of people deserve to be mocked because of the fact that they were trying to act like they were above everybody else. And I'm like, screw you. This is how I feel. You know, if you're going to stand there and you're going to tell me that I'm a wuss for not playing a game that you like, then I'm going to stand there and call you a freaking idiot because of you stupid idiot, because of the simple fact that you're treating me that way over a piece of freaking entertainment. You need to get good in terms of your social skills is what you need to do.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Ooh,
exactly, fully agreed. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now, who was it that said you need to be called the Ravenous Spectre?
that was a mine. He's a best friend of mine. He and I were I was hanging out at his place one day, and we were just talking about doing some music together. Of course, he and I put out a heavy metal song one another, and hopefully someday soon in the future we'll be able to do that again. But we ended up doing that, and we were talking about my channel and different videos that I was putting out, and he said it would be kind of funny if you ended up calling yourself the Ravenous Spectre. He said, because sometimes you just spew out a bunch of bullshit and I just sit there and laugh at you. And I laughed at him and I said, a bunch of bullshit. He's like, yeah, he said, I'm just kind of kidding though. He said, I don't really mean it's actual bullshit. He said, it's just the fact that you get on there and you just go on and on and on and on and on. I'm just sitting there kind of laughing at some of the things that you're saying. I said, okay, I see where you're coming from. So yeah, I just kind of stuck with that as like being a little a side joke.
Yeah. Now let's move on to some wrestling.
Yeah.
Move on to some wrestling. So,
Wrestling.
how long of a wrestling fan? How long have you been a wrestling fan, and what got you hooked onto wrestling?
Well, I think it pretty much boils down to the exact same answer that I had given previously about gaming. Probably around the age of 5 or 6, as far back as I can remember. I don't really remember what match it was that I saw that caused me to get into it. I don't know if I was watching it with my grandfather or my dad or what it was. I think it might have been my grandfather, because he actually watched wrestling some back in the day, back in like the 80s and a little bit into the 90s. But then after, when it got close to the mid 90s, he just fell out of care. The only time he'd ever really watch it is when I would be watching it. He might stick around and watch a little bit of it, but after that, he just didn't care after a certain period of time. But yeah, it was basically the same way. It's just like, I love the story at that point in time, especially in the mid 90s. Mid to late 90s, it was the storylines, it was the characters, it was the pyrotechnics, it was the action, it was just the complete absurdity and the different plot twists and things like that was going on. It was just insanity, you know. And so I guess it was kind of like that inner thing when it comes to like just like you're looking at two comic book heroes or something on screen, if you will, battling it out, but it's actually happening live, if you can think of it like that. You know, it's like live action comic book heroes, comic book heroes and villains. And I remember one time, this is a story, I was sitting down watching, this is when The Undertaker was a heel, and when he was a bad guy, as I referred to him as, obviously, when I was younger. I was sitting there. My mom was at one end of the house. She was cleaning up or something. I was sitting there in the middle of the floor in the living room, and The Undertaker came on, he started talking, and I said, "You're a bastard." And my mom said, "What?" She said, "What did you say?" And I said, "Oh dear Lord." I said, I was just talking about the Undertaker on the screen." She kind of briefly and kind of just walked the other direction because I knew when she ended up giving me that stare that she did. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's like comic book characters coming to life, especially back in the 80s WWF. You got the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and you got the villains like Earthquake, Andre the Giant. The main one that seemed like a comic book character come to life was freaking Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, and Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man, jeez, what
Absolutely.
a douchebag.
They had a whole lot of characters in the 90s, and up until like the late 90s, is because I think that's really when they really started getting into characters, was like the 80s and the 90s. And while we do have a few characters now, it's really not the same to me like what it used to be. It's more entertaining when you had actual characters. You have a handful of them nowadays, but no what it used to be. And I was just like, man, that's kind of one reason why wrestling nowadays, even though I'll be like a pro wrestling fan to the day that I die, I feel like it has gotten stale when it comes to that, when it comes to trying to get creative. Now, some people may think differently about this, but this is honestly how I feel. The fact is when it boils down to dealing with the Bludgeon Brothers, who just recently coming out on SmackDown weeks ago, that is like a character kind of tag team that I remember back from the 80s and 90s. And I was like, I want that. I mean, just like, for example, Ascension, who used to be in NXT and came over to SmackDown. I thought that they were going to be like this new age Legion of Doom kind of group. And now they're just like a freaking laughing stock, being with like Fandango and Tyler Breeze and stupid skits that WWE is putting out there. And I'm just like, this is stupid. I said, this is ridiculous. I said, this is nothing how I thought this tag team was going to be. I mean, granted, when they were wrestling at the amount of NXT, they were totally, like, I thought they were just going to take the tag team division by storm. They fell flat. And that's the main thing that really got me into wrestling, was just dealing with the different characters and the action, because I love seeing the different moves and different finishers and just how just insane it was.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I was a big fan starting out with when I first started watching the Ascension. I like the entrance music was tight, and I thought, man, yeah, this tag team's gonna be cool. Nope. After they beat the New Age Outlaws in Royal Rumble 2015, that's it. It's like, geez, what happened to this team? Man, dude. And yeah, the Bludgeon Brothers, or whatever they're called, yeah, I finally listened to the entrance music. It is ECW.
Yeah, it definitely is. I was like, God, I gotta get.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say it again. You cut out.
I was saying, yeah, it was really awesome. I've got to get this off of iTunes at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, Danny, do you have any questions for Ravenous Spectre?
What happens to be your most favorite anime to watch these days?
These days, well, honestly, I hate to say it, but even though that I have really been into anime for like since the 90s, I mean, like when they used to end up putting out those commercials for like the best in Japanese anime, order now, and you got like the VHSs of like some of the best anime movies throughout the 80s and the 90s, like Akira and Wicked City and Ninja Scroll and stuff like that. I do have a few anime series as well as anime movies, but I don't know what it is, but I haven't really gotten back into anime like I used to back in the day, like back in the 90s and up into the 2000s. It has nothing being against it because I love anime, but I just never have really taken the time to go back and watch it. But I do have, and I know this sounds cliche as can be, but I do have the complete Dragon Ball Z series on Blu-ray and the complete Dragon Ball GT series on but I have some other animes, like my favorite series is Basilisk. I don't know if you've heard.
I have watched that, and I've also finished that series too.
Yeah, I really did, because it just dealt with two warring ninja tribes, and they ended up having, it was like each one had their ability they could utilize against somebody who was taking them on in battle. I just really loved it. I thought it was like greatest anime series I've ever seen. But there has been a few other ones that I've checked out like basically on Netflix, because Netflix is really having a series that are coming out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to really get into like what was it, Seven Deadly Sins. I finished the first season and I started on the second season. There's a Castlevania that just recently got on there. Man, I wish they had more episodes. But the second, yeah, exactly. The second season, I don't know when it's going to be out, but they're going to have like double the episodes now. So hopefully it'll actually get more depth than what it was previously. But
yeah,
I haven't really been.
What's that? Go ahead. Sure. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that there hasn't. I haven't really taken the time to get into checking out some newer ones as time has worked. There has been a few other series that I've checked out and a few other series, but I haven't really gotten to the point of really wanting to purchase them. Some of them I did purchase because I never really knew where else to watch them, and I turned around and ended up selling them. And so, yeah, if you happen to have any kind of recommendations, I'll definitely want those. The genres that I'm mainly into when it comes to anime is like medieval fantasy or, hardcore science fiction or medieval fantasy, where it has like a lot of action. I don't mind having like mature, like really deep storylines, and whether it's honestly, and I can go and say, yeah, I don't mind bloody anime. I don't, but then again, there has been some scenes that I've seen in some anime that has been really gruesome, and it scared the shit out of me. And I cannot remember for the life of me what the name was. I really do not know. But it was on Facebook or something. Somebody was showing some scenes of it, and I'm like, I said, whoever they got the voice actors to play these characters, people want to go and talk about how, oh yeah, I just want to go watch subbed anime because of the fact I don't like the English voice actors. Well, I like the English voice actors because I want to be able to know what they're actually saying. I want to hear it. I want to observe and see all the beautiful animation and everything I'm seeing in the action. I don't want to take my eyes away from that to read what a character is saying. And the voice actors that they got for these particular scenes, they did really well, and they scared the crap out of me because they were just like screaming their heads off, and blood was going everywhere, and characters were dying, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I don't want to see it because it scares me. But one anime in particular series that I had finished was dang, what the heck was it called? Corpse Party. I ended up getting that, and that's like a kind of anime, and honestly, it's really good. That's what's crazy. I'm into mainly action and like medieval fantasy and sci-fi anime, but when I saw this, I'm like, yeah, I might actually possibly want to check out some horror anime at some point, because it was just like freaky, but it was cool, and it was weird, and it was kind of at my tolerance level if it deals with like blood and gore. And the animation was pretty cool too, and the characters were interesting, and the story itself was cool too. So if you haven't checked that out, if you kind of into like horror anime,
yeah, like Death Note, I've seen like a little part of that, but I do not like the English dubbing for Death Note. That's just me.
Yeah, I haven't even really bothered to watching Death Note. My girlfriend's been wanting to see it, and I have a couple of mine that they've even seen it, but I've never actually taken the time to really sit down and watch it, so I really don't know what to expect out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have like the first 3 manga of High School of the Dead.
Yeah, I actually had read some manga to have one of the main mangas that I collect, Ragnarok, and I got into reading that and kind of just fell out of it because there were so many that was coming out. Even though I can appreciate manga, there's just like so many issues that come out, or so many that get released, and I just can't keep up with them. Yeah, exactly.
I like Ragnarok too, because it's nice that you can read sometimes your manga like left to right or right to left, which that's kind of like a cultural type thing to get used to. It's kind of weird, but I love it. Also, I recommend watching Scrapped Princess or even reading the manga. You would really like that. That's like around medieval times, something up your alley.
Oh, actually, I think I do have Scrap Princess. I've seen it. I know I've seen it. I think I still own it, as a matter of fact. I'll have to check. But yeah, I have actually seen that series, and I thought it was like freaking wicked. I really did like it. I should still have it. If I don't, then I'm stupid. I need to go and look
Yeah.
through
You stupid idiot.
Plus, I know Plus, I know the voice actors that were a part of Scrapped Princess or Scrapped Prin. I know Crispin Freeman was one of the characters for
Chris Benoit?
no, Crispin Freeman, and then Kari Walgren, the Scrapped Princess herself, and her adoptive brother, that's played by Crispin Freeman. Man, I love that series
Crispin Glover?
so much.
Speaking of manga, the only two that I really have now is Witchblade, what's that up there?
Witchblade.
Takaru or Takeru or something like that. I haven't gotten all of it, but I'm glad they actually put color to it. And there's a Zelda manga there, which is, I don't know if it tells an entire tale or if it's just like a continuing story or something, but it's the very first one. I'll have to go up there and see exactly what it consists of. But yeah, that's kind of the only manga that I own as of right now. Not as much as I used to back in the day.
Well, I have quite a bit of the Legend of Zelda manga. I have like the 2 parts to basically Ocarina of Time and the 2 parts to the Four Swords Adventures. I'm trying to complete it, and plus they have Twilight Princess, so it's, yes, and the Oracle of Seasons and Ages. I kind of told Ron about the manga to those, and it's like his response is that it was that popular to have a manga of itself. I'm like, hell yeah.
If William Regal was in this interview or in this show, he would say, yes, I love to read manga. He would call it manga because I remember Umaga, so Umanga.
Oh man.
Yeah, just mispronounced the name. I like manga. I used to think it was manga too when I first read the word, so I can't be talking.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It's like some people call it anime, but some people say anime, some say anime, some say anime. So
Yeah.
I thought it was enemy.
enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the otaku cartoon anime series, it basically states how an otaku acts or lives. And they said anime. And then there's Comic Party, which also talks about otakus as well. And I was going to say something towards Ron, but I kind of lost my train of thought.
This isn't about me. This is about Ravenous Spectre.
Yeah.
As I heard myself reverb.
Indeed. Reverbing it all over the place.
Yeah.
Reverbing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regurgitate. Wait, fail.
Agitate.
Virgins what?
Yeah. Virgil, Bobby the Brain Heenan. You win some, you lose some. Unless you're Virgil, then you lose them all.
Exactly.
So Spectre, what are your favorite kind of shoes? Wait, no, I'm just kidding. Phil, that means I'm out of questions here. That means I've run out of questions.
I can answer that. I can actually answer that. And that is the ones that aren't cheap as piss and the ones that aren't expensive as piss. So I would probably say anywhere between the $40 to $60 range at the most, and that is as much as I'm willing to pay, plain and simple.
When I was a kid, I wanted the Reebok pumps so bad, but my parents or whoever or grandparents were very cheap. I didn't want to buy them, and I had to settle for cheap Voigt or Pro Wings generic Velcro shoes. And of course, I got made fun of for that because I wasn't one of the cool kids because I didn't have Reebok pumps or Nikes.
I remember the LA Gears that had the light up heels. I had some of those. I think I had some too. But
I forgot about the LA Gears. I think you know who actually invented those light up shoes. I think it might have been the Hollywood Blondes, Stunning Steve Austin and Flying Brian in 1993 in WCW.
Wow.
Because they wore those shoes, and all of a sudden there's shoe companies manufacturing those where you walk and they light up in the little glass case in the bottom. What do you call them? The see-through things in the bottom, like you see the lights flashing. This is what I've heard now, that that was stolen from WCW when the Hollywood Blondes did that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, the reason that I said
Yes.
Al Gore, the fact that I think he claimed he helped create the internet or something like that, so that's why I said that.
Oh, didn't Tim Berners-Lee have a big hand in that?
I guess so.
No, he's known to be the quote unquote father of the internet.
Yeah, I believe so. So,
you know, I actually thought about
those light up shoes. Like the things that come out of the shoes and it looked like they were ran on quarters.
Huh.
A quarter powered light up shoe. Who thought of that?
What movie was it where this wannabe pimp was walking around with these shoes that had like a fish bowl underneath the sole of the shoe, and there's a little fish swimming around on the bottom of the shoe, but then it broke. And I don't know. It was weird. I can't even describe it right. It was just weird, and people were laughing at him. And as he's walking, it broke, and the glass shattered, and the water came out the bottom of his shoe, and it was weird.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, something fishy about that.
Indeed, but
I actually thought about, like, while y'all were talking earlier, like, when I didn't have any more questions, what if I just started trolling someone I interview from now on, like, all right, here we go with the interview with so-and-so. What is your favorite sock? I'm sorry, what? Wait, what's your favorite sock? I don't know.
The left one. Left socks matter. Left socks lives matter.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of paint? Like, okay,
the ones that I sniff on a daily basis.
Yeah. Mario paint. Or
exactly.
what's your favorite kind of lamp? Amber lamps. And so, like, but I was speaking of paint. Like, when I was on a mission trip years ago, we were helping paint this place, but some of the guys were sniffing a little bit too much fumes because they were like, "Hey, this wall's moving," and the guy goes, "Oh wait, it is moving," and like he was just some people had too much fumes in it. It was just funny, and to where one of them actually had to be carried back to the motel room because like he was really had too much fumes going on. He got too dizzy or something. But he ended up being all right. No brain damage or nothing like that. But yeah, that was just kind of a funny story. I remember, hey, this wall's moving. Wait, it is moving. Just what? Jeez. Oh, the old story from 2011.
Yeah.
But
So Spectre, there's also one anime that's medieval and it's called Bastard and it's a shonen anime and manga. But why would they title it Bastard?
Yeah, I have that as a matter of fact. I have
the bastardized version. No.
What sucks is they didn't continue on with that series. What's really dumb is what I have. I can't remember how it really went, but basically it was supposed to be a series, and the only one that I have takes place like after something happens, and then they have a few episodes, and then it just ends abruptly, and nothing happens after that. And I think in each episode, or like in one episode, the bastard guy had one outfit, and then in another episode, he had a completely different outfit or a different colored outfit, or something. It was weird. And then they never completed the series, and I was just confused the entire time while I was watching it. But apparently, it was the only one that I know of that was released at that point in time in the States. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, this is really cool, the action in it, everything. But what the hell is going on with the story? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Another really good one is Claymore.
Oh, I love Claymore.
Yeah.
Claymore's bomb.
Yeah, I got that on Blu-ray. That's an amazing anime.
Yeah, the manga is longer than the anime. I don't know why they had to make it short.
The manga always goes more in depth.
Yeah.
So
Spectre, I'll tell you this. What I don't like about Basilisk is all the rape that's included in that anime and manga. Like, no thanks, I'll just skip over this.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that in the anime. I haven't read the manga. I don't remember. But yeah, I would agree if that's in like, yeah, this is kind of not too peachy.
What happens to be your least favorite video games that came out this year, or you played a really bad game and it made you salty for a long time and never wanted to pick it up again?
Holy freaking crap. That I never wanted to pick up again that I did this. Well, I hate to say it, and I'm probably going to end up I might get some negative feedback about this, but even though I enjoyed what I played of it, I just really could not get into it. Hopefully someday I can get back into it again, but that is Yakuza 0, and I was so into Yakuza 0 time, and I really liked it, and I was playing it, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get Kiwami because it's the remake of the very first game that came in on PS2. Went and got Kiwami, and obviously it was at half price. I think it was because they were releasing 2 Yakuza games at one, and they didn't want to charge full price for both. Got the Steelbook edition, or Tin Book, I guess you could say, because it's not really steel. And I was like, yeah, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to straight to Kiwami. Man, when I got back to it, I was playing other games, and I back to Yakuza 0. I tried to. I'm just like, I don't really want to play this right now, but hopefully someday. So I have a game that I bought that I haven't even started yet because of the fact that I've been playing Yakuza 0 because I want to finish that to make sure I know what to when I go to Kiwami. And the second game is being made as well with the same engine. That's going to be coming out, I don't know, next year or year after or when it's going to be out. But I'm like, crap, then I got to that one. I'm just like, I got to finish this thing. But I just cannot for the life of me push myself to be able to do it. So I guess that's kind of the one that I just have sitting on the back burner right now.
Yeah, Okami is great, and it's like, damn, I should have gotten that on the Wii while I could.
Well, I mean, Yakuza, it's called, is what it's called. It's a remake. But speaking of Okami, I love Okami. I need to freaking get that, man. I need to get that on PS4. I definitely need to get that.
Yeah. And definitely. Yakuza is a good game series, but for some reason it's a good game series, but it doesn't interest me in the least. And I'm probably going to get bashed for that.
I really wish that they had an English dialogue feature in that. I know why they don't, considering the fact that it's still in Yakuza and like gangs in Japan in the 80s and up into the 90s and 2000, so on and so forth. I totally get why it's not in there, but I still wish that it was because I just basically TV when they're talking because I'm going to end up reading it anyways. So, you know. But speaking of Okami, I need to get back to playing that. I had the HD version on PS3 that I got on sale on PSN for a few dollars, and I used to have the PS2 version and way back when. And yeah, I really want to get the PS4 because the box is gorgeous, and I just really want to be able to stream it and get trophies and all that stuff.
Yeah, trophies are amazing.
Yeah, they don't get you anything, but whatever. At least cool to get and talk with people about. It's basically like getting a high score in the arcade in the 80s. That's what trophies to me are.
Yeah.
Konami?
Okami.
Oh, Okami.
That's the Japanese word for wolf.
Don't turn your back on the Okami pack. Wait.
Phil. You might wind up in a calligraphy bag. Yeah. Because you use calligraphy in the game. Yeah, okay. Celestial.
Oh, yeah, calligraphy.
Yeah. Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid? No.
I love Kool-Aid. Yeah. Sometimes.
Kool-Aid.
All right, don't drink it though. All right, so that is the end of this interview with Ravenous Spectre. Ravenous Spectre.
That would be a really cool name for a death metal band. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, Ravenous Spectre. Yeah. So all right, thank you very much for coming on the show and letting us interview you.
Yeah, no problem. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, really looking forward to doing more commentary as well on the channel.
All right, awesome. Yep. And so we'll see you guys later. I'm Ronmower. God bless and take care.
Later, taters.
Follow the black cat.